Hi, I'm Rebecca Rosen, a spiritual medium and best-selling author. Welcome to my podcast, Small, Medium, at Large. Although small in stature, I've been taking on the big and unusual job of talking to the dead for over 20 years. I serve as a messenger for spirit, helping people to connect to their departed loved ones and guides, while also encouraging them to strengthen their own intuition. Hello, Katie. I am so excited to have you here.
Hi. I'm so excited to be here. Good to see you.
So this is Katie Burke, and Katie is part of my ground crew. So for anyone who's followed me, read my books, you know I talk about my team spirit. We all have a team spirit, and those are your departed loved ones, guides, and angels, but it also includes your living soulmates. And these are the souls that you keep reincarnating with in and out of lifetimes. And I like to call them my earth angels. And they are an instrumental part of our journeys. And so I was shown in a meditation that my final channeling needed to include Katie and channeling episode. And first I thought, let's just do a conversation to introduce to those who aren't familiar with my story, how Katie has been with me truly from the beginning. She knew me before I was aware I had this gift. And I mean, we're talking like this goes back to childhood. And our journeys, we keep weaving in and out of each other's lives in a very profound way. And so I thought it would be really amazing to bring you into this conversation for a lot of reasons, because it's how I found my gift. You're kind of the one who can vouch for me and say, like, I was truly a normal person.
For sure.
Yeah. And then you were with me in my most vulnerable times in the beginning. But also when I started my meditation group, which is where I started channeling the Trinity.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been along for the ride. And
Yep.
so I thought it would be amazing to get your perspective and just kind of, talk out some of this. And then we will go into channeling the Trinity. And what I thought would be really cool, obviously we don't direct this, the Trinity does, but we'll bring through this energy. But then like you and I have done in the past in our channeling group, you maybe can ask a few questions that you feel are kind of universal in nature, that maybe listeners also have the same questions. And so we'll just kind of go from there. How does that sound?
That sounds great. I'm excited.
Okay, good. So I thought we would just start by saying, okay, so Katie and I grew up together in Omaha, Nebraska. We went to high school together, and in my opinion, our real friendship began like right at the end of high school, but really going into college.
Yeah.
And I went to the University of Florida, and you went to, remind me?
SMU in Dallas.
Yep. And then it was our junior year or sophomore year, and you called me and you said you weren't happy and you were exploring the idea of coming to Gainesville and going to the US.
Well, remember a group of my friends sophomore year, we came to Florida for spring break.
Yes.
And we stopped in Gainesville. And so I got to spend a couple of days with you before we went on down to Fort Lauderdale.
That's right.
And I was depressed. I was not enjoying my college experience at all. I was sleeping like 20 hours a day. I was not in a good place. And I came to visit you. And you were my earth angel then. You said, come to Florida, come transfer, and you can live with me. And I did. I came.
You did. And we were there for each other. Little did I know I would need you as much, if not more.
Right.
And so you came. And then I remember we got an apartment with 2 other roommates. And, that was a really interesting time, because that was when my night prowler, as I talk about in my first book, Spirited, began.
Yep.
And so for those who aren't familiar, what happened was I was going through a depression. My dad back home in Omaha, Nebraska, had attempted suicide, and my parents were trying to protect me. And so they were limited with what they shared. But as a sensitive or an empath, I was feeling all of the frenetic energy, the pain, the suffering energetically. And so the way I coped is I started sleep eating which is I would sleepwalk into the kitchen and start stuffing my face until like a minute or two later, I'd wake up and it felt very scary, overwhelming. And I was stuffing my feelings, and my drug of choice was food.
Yeah.
So what happened is that I was crying myself to sleep every night. I was ashamed. I was scared. I just didn't know what was happening. And so I remember coming to you and confiding in you.
I remember you knocking on my bedroom door one evening.
I know. And this is something I've never shared publicly. And so do you remember for a while I said, Katie, can I just sleep in your bed with you?
Yeah.
So that maybe you can hold me accountable. And if you wake up, when I wake up, like stop me.
Right. From going out and eating peanut butter in the middle of the night.
Yes.
That was your drug of choice, was peanut butter, I think.
That's so funny. I don't even remember that. I just remember it was anything comforting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And and you were so sad. And I remember saying, absolutely, you can. And we didn't want to tell our roommates. We thought they might think we were weird or whatever. So we kept it. You'd come in like after everybody was asleep. I had a nice big queen size bed. So, but then we would just chat for hours.
I know. And that was where, do you remember we started talking about our visions of like soul groups and how we saw the bubbles? And I actually wrote about it in this book, What's Your Heaven?
Yes.
You and I saw this. And then it was years later, I read about it in Dr. Michael Newton's books, and he was saying the same thing. I'm like, oh my God.
How we saw that at 19, 20 years old. And we were so certain of it, that you had your soul group of circles of souls, and I had my soul circle of souls. And then we intersected because obviously we were in each other's soul group. And then there are a couple of other souls that are in both yours and my soul circle that we're kind of figuring out now. But there's the intersection of our soul circle as well.
Yeah, the overlap.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was pretty amazing. And so clearly Spirit was using you to help me. And then, months later, what was going on is I started automatic writing. I was at the bookstore and Grandma Babe and my angels started coming to me and channeling messages.
And I remember that very clearly. I remember I was out for a walk when you called me and I said, Beck, are you okay? And you said, I'm okay, but I'm freaked out. Can you come meet me right away? And so I remember hurrying back to our apartment, driving to go meet you at the shop. And then you showed me your notebook and just handed me your journal, and it was just your writing. And then all of a sudden the writing like got slanted. I'll never forget, like you were no longer following the lines of the journal, and it was slanting downward. And I was like, what's this? And you said, read it. And so I started reading it, and it didn't sound like you. It wasn't your voice at all. It was different words than you use. It was a different tone altogether. And I was like, what are you showing me right now?
Yeah, no, truly, I thought I was losing my mind.
Yeah.
And I just was so scared to talk to anybody about this. And you were so supportive, and you were worried about me, and for good reason. But you were holding space for me. And I told you, I felt like this was coming from a loving place. I felt like it was here truly to serve me, not hurt me. Yeah. And so you encouraged me to continue as long as it felt loving and kind, which it did. And so you really were there in those formative years. And so do you remember then we got the angel board or Ouija board?
Yeah, because I think first of all, you went to kind of try to get some guidance from somebody who may know what was going on. And didn't you go to you went to like a mysticism shop or something, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Well, so first I got the Ouija board, and then we brought it back to the apartment, and dark stuff started happening, which is why I'm always very careful to tell people, if you're going to use a tool like that, you have to set boundaries that you're only going to plug into the light.
Right.
We
didn't know what we were doing, so we didn't do that.
No. And when you work with energy, you can call in anything. And we were calling in like mischievous, not necessarily positive energy, and using the Ouija board with our roommates, because it was like a gimmicky game.
Right.
Do you remember weird stuff started happening, like accidents and like just negative stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, we put it away.
Right.
and we didn't touch it. Well, then it was shortly after that, I went to Temple of the Universe, Michael Singer.
In Gainesville. That's right. That's right.
So I went with my friends, Jocelyn and Kimmy, and we went to this yoga place. And I had no clue Michael Singer was at the time. In fact, I didn't know until years later that I put it together because he's wrote some fabulous books. But the point is, there was a little store on the way. It was like an angel shop, and I saw an angel board. And I didn't have a lot of money then. And I was like, God, $44 for this. But I was told, get this. So I got the angel board. It's a Ouija board with a pure, cleaner intention. And I remember going home and that charge, I paid for it on a credit card. It never showed up. I never paid for that board. The angels like magically dropped that in my lap. So anyways, it was amazing. But then we started using that. And when I would use the board, I would go into my room sometimes alone and use it. And I remember doing it and it started spelling out candle dripping. And I'm like, candle dripping. And I turned around and there was a candle behind me dripping all over my carpet.
I remember that. And you didn't know, your conscious mind didn't know that.
So then I was like, this board works. And that is my grandma babe and my angel. So I started using that. So
right. Right.
So those are the beginning days. And then during the summer break at school, do you remember we both went back to Omaha and I lived with you for a few weeks, you and your dad?
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember I talked to my dad about what you were experiencing. And my dad was a professor of world religions. So he was very knowledgeable about, the religions with mysticism, Kabbalah and Sufism and all of that. And so he put it in a very objective light for me, that it sounded like you were a mystic. And I was like, oh, okay. So he in no way framed it as it was a strange thing or something to be fearful of. And so I just accepted that that's who you were and the path that you were going down. I mean, of course, I knew that you were filled with integrity and you were honest. And so you weren't making this up. I mean, and I've always felt that since, as you've evolved, I now understand it, but in the beginning, I didn't really understand what was going on, but I just always knew. And I always told people, well, I know she's honest. I know she's a good person. I know that this path that she's going down, she's truthful about it. Mm-hmm. It's all good stuff. If you were ever accused of looking people up ahead of time on Google or whatever, like you had the time to do that. But anyway, it was like, no, she's legit.
Thank you. Well, and it meant so much for you and your dad. I loved your dad. He holds a special place in my heart. And he is, if you and I are in the same soul group, I believe he's part of that as well.
Oh, for sure.
And I just remember the comfort I got from talking to your dad because he was so knowledgeable and like, this was new territory. Like I was not religious. I couldn't even say I was spiritual back then.
Right.
And so it's very comforting because, with knowledge comes power. Mm-hmm. And I felt like he gave me permission along with my own dad, like to explore this path.
Right.
And and we're talking, this is back in 1997, 1998.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is like way ahead of time. Like now it's kind of more accepted and talked about.
Right. It was not at all then. We didn't have any idea what was going on. I remember when you came, somehow you were in San Diego. And when I was living there, you came down and you were going to do a reading for my, at the time, boyfriend. You were going to read his grandmother. And he didn't know what was going on. And I didn't know, when I say didn't know what was going on, we just didn't understand any of this yet. Right. But I told him, she's legit. She's one of my very dearest friends in the world. And he's like, okay, sure. So you were going to do a reading for him. You were going to try, and you were in the kitchen and I was in the bedroom giving you guys time and space. And all of a sudden you knocked on the bedroom door and you said, Kate, you're going to have to come out here because your dad really wants to come through and give you a message. And I can't get through to the grandmother until I give you the message that your father is trying to give you. So I remember early on, dad came through to you a lot. Yeah. And you knew something about, I took nothing from my father's bedroom after he passed away, except for one thing. And I never told anybody that. And you told me that he said he was so happy that I took the figurine. And I never told you that. I don't know if I even told my family that I took that. And I still have it. I'm staring at it right now. It's the only thing that I took. And you knew that too. I think you'd only been practicing or developing your gift for about 2 years. So I was like, wow, there's something going on here. She's really communicating with my dad.
Right. Oh my God, I totally forgot about that. It's amazing. It's amazing. And then, so fast forward a few years, we moved apart, and then I was in California maybe, but then we ended up both back in Denver.
Yes.
Do you remember that? You were here, and then I followed, and we overlapped for about a year before you left and went to Germany.
Right.
So your background is you were studying, you got your MBA.
Yes.
And you were in corporate America.
Yes.
And do you want to share like that experience?
Oh, well, I was miserable. I was working 80-hour weeks, and I just, it was a big girl job, I always say, and it was a highly coveted position after graduation, and I was so miserable. And then Dad was diagnosed with cancer, and he was 56 when he passed. And so, my world just got flipped upside down, and I thought, this can't be what life is. I can't be waking up every morning and going to somewhere that I'm miserable. This can't be what life is. So I quit, and I've had a very different path. I ended up in a nonprofit management, and then I decided to go get my international MBA in Germany. And that's when we started doing, that was like back when Skype was just first in its inception, I think. And you told me you were starting this meditation group, and you said you had saved a spot for me when I graduated and came back to Denver, that I could be part of this group. And I remember being so excited about that. And that was such an extraordinary experience. You brought together such great energy healers, and we'd meet, I think, once a month, and we'd sit around in your office and we'd meditate for a while. And then I don't think it started with you channeling. I think that was something someone in the group suggested that you start doing later on. But then once you started channeling, it was just like, we could just feel how it was a higher frequency that you were accessing rather than mediumship.
Right.
And that was super powerful.
It was
So
really
uplifting.
was. Yes.
Yeah.
And that was back probably in 2007.
2009, actually. It was when it was when I came back.
2009. And so that's what we're going to do shortly. We're going to tune in and channel the Trinity. But anyways, it just illustrates the point. You have been with me from the beginning of this entire journey. And it's so amazing. And so you too now have gotten on your own spiritual journey. Of course you have.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, one of the coolest, I'll make it brief, but it's a story that I tell people when I talk about how I just started to kind of understand what was going on with who you were communicating with and how you were doing it. I remember going to a small group reading that you hosted in Denver, and there was a man behind me, and you could tell his wife had dragged him there. He did not want to be there. He had like a Colorado Avs hockey jersey on and just did not want to be there. And somehow you read him. And the next thing I know, you're telling him that his brother is coming through saying, thank you for taking care of my young boys. You're doing an extraordinary job raising them. And he had died. And so this man in the hockey jersey and his wife had taken over the caregiving of the deceased sons. And I turned around and looked back, and this man, this big hulk of a man, is just sobbing. I mean, you had broken through like the epitome of skepticism in this man behind me. And his life was forever changed, I'm sure, after that. It was so powerful. And I thought, again, this is just, and I've seen you evolve over the past years. I mean, I guess we are talking about like 25 plus years now, or almost 30 years. And even when I come to your readings now, I just am so amazed at how much clearer your connection is, how you're able to just, you get names and the signs that you're able to read in the people that you touch. I mean, I'm one of your biggest cheerleaders. I'm just so proud of you and so excited that you are sharing your gift with the world, because I know you're helping so many people. So I see how you just continue to grow and you work on it. I mean, you're on a spiritual journey. You what is it? You walk the talk. You really do. And I know it's a lot because I know I'm on my own spiritual journey, like you said, and I definitely have been working on developing my own intuition. And I have gotten, I'm able to hear my father now. I'm able to hear my past boyfriend who passed away 4 years ago. And so I'm able to connect with very, very close loved ones now. And that's been something that I have learned from walking this journey with you.
That is so amazing, because part of my responsibility in having this gift is to empower and inspire others to trust their own intuition and their own connection to their team spirit. And the fact that, you've gotten there and, we've done it in our own ways at our own timing, but we're both there. It just goes to show we can all do this. We can all do this for ourselves. And it really is like a muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it gets. It's like a practice. You have to do it, often, if not daily.
Right.
And then it's really about getting out of your head and getting into your heart and being able to suspend doubt and disbelief long enough to make room for the possibility of the miracles to start opening and revealing themselves.
Yes. And, I don't do this for a living. So my only motivation is like personal. But so why I say that is because I go through dry patches. Like I'll go months and not meditate. I mean, I will go, just get all focused in the 3D world of it all. And then something will inspire me to dive back in and start meditating and really connect with my team spirit. And it's amazing to juxtapose those two different periods with each other and see how much more my life flows when I'm connected, the signs that show up when I'm connected, or that I observe, I guess, I'm present enough to observe the signs. And it's like little magical gifts fall out of the sky when I'm connected, when I'm tuned in, when I'm vibing at that higher frequency. And it's ridiculous that I don't do it all the time, because it's so great when I'm in that flow. But I always have the contrast, because sometimes I'll go through periods of time where I'm not connected. And before we did this, I literally just did your meditation from What's Your Heaven, the I'm connected tapping.
Oh,
and yeah. And so it's just, I don't know, it just feels better. I'm just happier, and everything just flows better when I'm connected.
It's so true. And it's because you're in 5D and you're able to hold that high frequency. So that is where we're supposed to experience miracles, synchronicities, signs, and flow. But if we are vibing low and slow in 3D, it either doesn't happen at all or it's very infrequent. Yeah. And so there's a way, and you just explained one perfect way: meditation, or do the CRT, change it, run it, tap it, in the book. So I love that. And so, okay, so one more thing I want to touch on, and then we'll go into the channeling, is that a lot of times, because we're part of each other's ground crew, spirits use you as my messenger, and they come through dreams.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so amazing. You have like at least 24 times over the course of the last several years reached out and said, I had this dream. Are you okay? And it's either, oh my God, she's telepathically tuned in to what's going on, even though we have not spoken in a few weeks, or you're ahead of time where you pick up on something 2 or 3 weeks in advance. And I'm like, I don't know. And I sit with it, and then it happens.
Isn't that crazy? I don't do that with other people. I mean, we've just come to trust it. And I've been so grateful that you've been so open to me calling and telling you these dreams, because of course, initially I don't know what I'm doing either. I mean, it's just a dream, right? But they're so clear and they're so vivid. And I wake up, and it's gotten to the point where I have to record it in my phone so that I don't forget it. Because gosh, you can forget it in 30 seconds that I have to tell it to you. But yes, the visions that I get for you are very, very clear. And I always tell you this, I just feel like part of and I don't really do this with anyone else either, but I feel very protective of you. I feel like I'm here to just make sure that you're okay. Even though I live across the globe from you, but I'm always there for you. I'm always there to just check and make sure that you're doing okay. And so, it's been interesting how the dreams have been so accurate.
amazing. And I've always felt like I feel you. Like I feel your protection. I feel your love. You and my husband, Chris, hold a very similar feeling. Like you're here, you have my back, you're here to hold space, you're here to lift me higher. And that just is priceless. And you're one of my rocks. And so I'm so, so grateful. You know that. And just the fact, how full circle are we right now?
It's amazing.
It
It's
is.
amazing. And I'm so grateful for you. You know that too.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you. Well, in the space of gratitude is the highest frequency. And
Nice. Nice. Perfect.
we're going to go into this. And so what I'm going to do is take a moment and just, pray and call them in. How about you do the same? And then we'll just download and we surrender it to spirit and see what happens from here. Okay. Welcome, dear ones. We are pleased that you have come together in this space, holding space for one another and for all those who are tuning in to this transmission. We are very pleased to see that there is an energy frequency that is connected to the divinity that exists within you, around you, and that is you. We are the Trinity, and we are here to introduce ourselves to those who are unfamiliar with our energy. We are part of the collective whole, a higher consciousness that is based in the vibration of pure divine essence, which is eternal light, eternal love, the divine creativity from which you all come forth and in which you will all return to. We are here to bring forward a higher enlightened vision for you. And we will give you a download of insight and guidance. Initially, we will share what we feel needs to be shared. And then we will open this up to you to reveal whatever it is you wish to inquire about. We are very pleased that your hearts are open and that your minds are available to an upgrade, to be less in judgment and more in discernment, in a place of neutrality, as we will say. So from this place, we are able to connect to you in a place of truth and authenticity, in a way in which you will not go into the analyzer so that you do not dim your light or lower your vibration. You will stay heart-centered. And as we move through this experience together, we will heal you. Just by tuning in to these words, you are receiving a healing. You are tuning to the higher light. You will walk out of this feeling brighter, lighter, clear, more at ease with yourself, more congruent. The harmonics of your being will be upgraded to a new level. There will be less congestion or static in the line. You will move out of this feeling you have plugged into the cleanest, purest energy that exists. It is the frequency of the gold in which you speak of, dear Rebecca. There are times in which you all wonder how this is possible, but that is coming from your limited, conscious, linear mind. Your soul knows. Your soul is that part of you that is eternal, that is infinite, that moves in and out of embodiment in many different existences or lifetimes, as one may say. You are here now for a reason. You are at a very exciting evolutionary process on this planet. Those of you tuning in are ready to evolve to a higher level of wisdom and awareness. The veil is thinning, the layers are lifting, and with this comes clarity, and in that clarity comes peace. You will find that you are starting to experience more daily synchronicities, miracles, and grace. You will experience this more and more as you choose to do things that lock you into this higher light. It need not only be a meditative state, although for some, many of you walk around in a meditative-like existence. You're holding the vibration of 5D, as you would call it. This is a beautiful place to be. This is where you rise above the fight and you stay in the light. You get out of the frenetic heaviness, dense energies, and fragmentation of the 3D earth world. And from this place, you will start to feel more grace. You will start to be more detached and more present. You will call all your energy back from future and from past and be fully here now. This is the goal of your soul, to be fully present in each moment, in eager anticipation about what may come next, what divine miracle we have in store, that you have in store. For you are the creator of your reality. We simply support, advise, and assist. We, the Trinity, along with your team of angels and guides, stand by your side, always here, available. But you've been given the gift of free choice, free will. And it is up to you if you choose to flow and grow, or fight and dim your light and stay in suffering and struggle and pain. The choice is yours, dear ones. We highly advise that you move up into the light. Become attuned to these higher frequencies. Take your shoes off and feet on the earth, the ground. Walk around. Connect to Mother Earth. Mother Gaia is here for you, to hold you, to cradle you, to comfort you. This is about the surrender. Relax. Trust that you are divinely held. You are guided. You are not alone. We, the Trinity, are here to activate the Holy Spirit within you, that spark of divine creativity that each of you has access to, that each of you is emanating from the very essence or core of your being. There is no religion tied to this, dear ones. This is pure energetics. You are electromagnetic beings, an electromagnetic field of energy vibrating at certain frequencies. Whatever frequency you choose is where you attune. Imagine it like the radio and tuning your dial to a certain station. And when you do, you land on a different type of broadcast, a tune. And you tune your dial until you find the frequency that resonates with you, the music that pleases you, the talk that speaks to you. For each, it is different. There is no better or worse. It is simply is. It is whatever resonates for you in that moment is where you go. And that is where we meet you. We are open and available here now to help you. As you sit here in this space, tuning in to these words, you are being healed, transported to a new level for you. Each of you moving forward at your own pace. There is no rush to the finish line. It is simply the journey, as one may say. Release attachment or judgment to the outcome. That is the illusion. Do not go into delusion. Stay pure, stay centered, and stay present, dear ones. We are very pleased to open it up now to whatever it is that weighs on your mind, that will fill your heart. Please advise.
Could you please describe the time and space between our incarnations?
Indeed, we are very pleased you have asked this question, for many wonder. You have all been there. For if you are in body now, consider this a multitude of times that you have done the song and dance of entry into the physical, into the vessel, and a departure out and back into the non-physical, into the ethereal realms. The time here spent is unique to each soul. However, there is a curriculum or process in which all souls go through. Upon exiting the body, you are moved up and out into a higher frequency or dimension. And from there, how fast or slow depends on your resistance or willingness to release, to trust. And then you naturally move to the place that matches your frequency or your level of light. This is why it is essential to brighten your light and to hold thoughts in alignment with light. For you go to the place in which you believe, in which you are open to receive. And once you are in the non-physical realm, you are met whether by one or a multitude of light beings or guides. You are then escorted to your classroom, so to speak. We see this as the pods you were discussing. One may call them the soul family or group. And then you are taken back for a homecoming or reunion in which you are celebrated, commended for your bravery, your courage, and your strength. Regardless of how you exited or when, the details matter not. What matters is that you were willing and able, and you went home off the battlefield of planet Earth, back into the safe, loving embrace of those who have nothing but compassion and unconditional love for you. You are then met with one advisor. You may call this a guide. You go through a brief orientation back into this realm. At a later time, you do a deeper dive into a life review. And that is where you play judge and jury, and you sit with yourself in quiet introspection, self-inquiry. That is where you ponder your choices while embodied. That is where you rethink all that you did in a place of neutrality, taking objective observation of all that you moved through. And from there, you sit with a panel of your guides. You may call this the council. This is where you are up for a review and deciding whether or not you will return into a new form, or you may call this reincarnation. There's no rush. You simply be, for the linear time is non-existent in the non-physical realm. And so you will sit for however long your soul chooses, or in accordance with the other soulmates in your group. And then eventually you either evolve into different classrooms or levels within the spirit realm to continue your education or soul evolution. Some and many souls choose to wait to reincarnate, and they spend time in this realm absorbing information. Imagine this. Imagine you are studying something in a textbook or online, and you are gathering information and knowledge. You are reflecting and considering and pondering. But once you feel prepared, adequate, and ready, you would then sign up for another round or lifetime and reincarnate. And so then it's as if you're getting on a plane and traveling to a land and walking the land rather than reading about it or listening about it in a two-dimensional way. You are experiencing a holistic approach, a 3D, 4D, 5D way in which to experience the growth, not just conceptually, but integrated. This is why it is essential to eventually embody. Your growth is sped up exponentially if done this way. You are able to pick up where you left off or advance. You are able to heal and balance karma in the environment in which it was left behind or originally created, which makes for a much more efficient evolution of your soul. Do you understand?
Yes.
And so we say each soul is unique in what happens, but that is a general idea. Please continue.
Thank you. What is the ultimate goal for us learning lessons in the Earth School and raising our frequency?
The ultimate goal is to reunite with the oneness that exists, that is all, that is light, that is love. It is the eternal highest frequency of source. It is that divine spark that is held within you. The goal is to raise up into the place of complete compassion and forgiveness. This is the goal. When you are in a state of complete forgiveness for self, for others, there's nothing to be forgiven, for you see that all is by divine design, without judgment. It is there for your own awakening and understanding that all is one. And so you all come together to play out the roles of contrast and duality, for many learn through opposites. And in this, you are able to recognize what is unwanted. You are very clear and focused on what is desired or wanted. And so the goal is to move into the frequency of complete forgiveness, complete compassion, and complete oneness for self and for all. And to live from this expression so that the world is taken to a new level where you need not have karma. You need not have duality. You do not need to come into that contrast to learn. You are able to understand, operate, and experience your soul's lessons from a place of 5D energies, pure light, pure love. Do you understand?
Yes, thank you. Do experiences have to be hard and painful in order to learn from? And can we ask for an easier road and still elevate, even if we originally put something in our life plan?
We love this question, dear one. Yes, indeed. This is your book, dear Rebecca. This is the easy way. This is the road less traveled. This is what we came together today to discuss. The old earth is dying. The old way is 3D. It is limited. It is linear. It is horizontal in nature. Those of you tuned in now are moving into a new way, a new earth, a 5D way. It is vertical. You go up. Dear ones, the idea here is to rise above the linear, the limited, the polarities and dualities. There's a way to learn your lessons with grace and joy and ease and peace, where life flows and unfolds. This is the way. This is what we advise. There is no need to do it the hard way, the old way. The vibration of the planet is changing. It is rising. It is law. And with that, you either attune to this frequency and get on the train, so to speak, and go for the ride. Or you walk alongside on your own, struggling, slower, lower, longer. The choice is yours, but why not buckle up, get on the train, and let us take you for a ride? You do this by attuning to the highest frequencies that exist, plugging into source or light, divine spirit. And when you attune to your higher self, your umbilical cord to the other side, life becomes magical and fun. You become like children, present, playful, in the moment, growing and evolving. Look at your young ones, dear one. They learn through creativity and play. This is a 5D way. They do not need to be serious and sullen and studious and heavy. They do not need to always be serious. There's nothing wrong with this, but it is a lower, slower frequency, and it does prolong your evolution. Why not have fun and be like sunshine, where the rays are unlimited? It's endless in its reach. It's unlimited, available to all. Dear ones, this is your time to choose. When you awake in the morning, intend it so. Say you will move into the higher frequencies of light. This day will be your day of heaven on earth. You will create from this higher frequency of 5D. You no longer understand or agree with old agreements made in 3D. You break free. You are not enslaved. You are free. Dear ones, we highly suggest that you choose this path this way. Please continue.
Thank you. I love that. Do we choose our human vessel and all of its physical characteristics?
Indeed, you choose it all. You choose it with a panel, your council, where you would sit and choose every last detail, from where you will be born, to whom you will be born, to who you will have relationships with, whether it's family or friend or foe. You will choose every characteristic, and you choose based on what will best serve you to learn the lessons at hand. You may choose obstacles and challenges because your soul needs the contrast, the duality to learn. But for many of you waking up, you do not need that. Therefore, you will choose wisely without the hardships or the challenges. You can come in and find a life of pure joy. But the key here is not to go into doubt and second guess your worthiness. Dear one, you understand this. It's understanding some do not choose to come in and have a lot of drama or difficulty. They are here to simply attune to a frequency of joy. And in that joy, they are frequency holders or light bringers, way showers. And their lives appear to be seamless or lighter or easier, less chaotic, so to speak. But that is their choice, and they need to understand they are worthy and deserving, and that they are here to be a candle that lights other flames. It ignites and inspires those around them to choose the easy way forward, to learn through the light rather than shadow. Each of you chooses each and every day, will you show up in light or will you choose from your shadow? It is up to you, but the idea here is to understand you can learn through light, you can release the shadow, and from that healing of old trauma, old pain, old suffering, you then break agreements with the enslavement and what holds you down or keeps you apart from your idea of heaven. You need not die to experience heaven. There will be longer life expectancy when people understand this and they are able to forgive, because in the forgiveness, there is no dis-ease, and in no dis-ease, there is no disease in the body. So your bodies will last longer, be healthier, and be more attuned to light. And from here, you will be able to enjoy your golden years, and you need not die and reincarnate as often. Do you understand?
Yes.
Please continue.
Thank you so much for that validation. Do we really have memories of our past lives?
Your soul holds a record of all. On an unconscious level, indeed, you do. This is part of the Akashic records, the energetic imprints of each life lived, held in this vessel of eternal time and space. This is, think of the cloud in the sky. This is where all of past lives accumulated and future lives, for that matter, are stored, in which you can access when being given granted permission from your team, if it will be used in a meaningful way, in a way that will serve you rather than work against you. And you can access this in a multitude of ways. Some seek it out in their dream state and they travel to the Akashic Records Hall to access it with their guides. Others can access through meditation and prayer. Some do it in hypnosis, regression work. And some simply just know. They tune in and their gatekeepers or Akashic record keepers open the doors. It is up to you how you choose to access this information, if you choose to at all. You can continue.
Thank you. Can we uncover our soul's purpose by following what lights us up?
You are on to something important here, a very important point we wish to tell. Whatever lights you up, consider it well worth your time. Spend endless time on things that bring you joy, that make you feel connected to you, authentically you, with certain souls that bring this out of you, that energize you, that build you up and inflate you, rather than feeling obligated to do things or spend time with those who do the opposite. This is your sheer guidance, dear ones. You feel your way through that rather than think your way through. And in that place, you are being exactly what you are here to do, to be, just be you, to tune in to joy, love, light, peace, connection, oneness. These are the heavenly frequencies we speak of that attune you to the source, energy, divine spirit, supreme being, whatever you wish to call this energy, this light, whatever brings you light, whatever you do that radiates within you, from you, and serves to become magnetic for those around you. Do more of this, dear ones. This is how you move out of disease, out of suffering, out of pain, into healing, into peace, into clarity. When you are in this frequency, life becomes clear. Layers or veils are lifted, where you have your aha moments or epiphanies frequently, daily. And from here, you get to ride the flow, the wave in which many signs happen. And you start to feel hopeful. You start to feel deeper faith, deeper trust in yourself and in the divine plan. You start to understand everyone is love at their core, and you start to have compassion for all. Please continue.
Thank you. Do we really have soul circles that we travel through many lifetimes with?
You have many. There are primary ones, indeed, those closest to you. There are many souls that go bump in the night. Some you interact with frequently, others at random. Some not in all lifetimes. Some choose to stay behind in the non-physical while you come in. But you can access all souls, part of your soul families, whether primary or secondary or so forth, by tuning into frequency. Whether embodied or in non-physical, you can be in relationship, but you must tune your dial or tune your frequency. And you do this. This, by the way, is how Rebecca channels in her mediumship work. You attune to a frequency of light, of love, of truth. And from there, you are able to access all souls, living or non-physical. And from there, you connect on the frequency of love or light. And in that place, you can finish out unfinished business or clear karma with these souls. But it is always more effective and efficient when you are both embodied. While some might be taking a break and staying in non-physical, you do have access in your dream state, meditative state. You can access this indeed. Please continue.
Thank you. What is déjà vu?
We like this question very much. A soul recognition, a familiar feeling. It was set up for you before you were born. Think of it like a signpost along the way saying, pointing you this direction. It is a marker that this is divinely intended at this time. You are right where you need to be. This was supposed to happen. It's a gentle nudge or wake-up call that it feels oddly familiar. It's a reminder that you pre-planned this place in which you met up with. So your human self or experience is meeting up with your soul self, your spiritual experience. It's a collision of sort in which this juncture is a good wink from above or within, we could say, to know, okay, this is all divinely perfect and well-timed. This gives you peace or relief. This allows you to deepen, soften in faith and trust that all is well, dear ones. Please continue.
Thank you. When we recognize a pattern in our life, but struggle to identify what is the lesson we are supposed to learn, how would you advise we figure out what that lesson is?
We ask for you to relax, let go, stop going into effort, dear ones. Efforting your way slows down the process. That is where you think you overachievers are going to roll up your sleeves and dig in and tackle this head on. Well, the problem being head on is not the way, heart in is. We ask that you soften, relax, and just be. Lean into it with grace and ease. Let go of the control or forcing or efforting. In this way, you start to rise. Your vibration gets lighter and higher. You cannot see solution from the place of effort or struggle. You cannot see solution or understanding how to heal this pattern or programming from the same frequency in which it was created. You are locked in. It's as if you're in the dark trying to see light, but the lights aren't on, so you remain stuck and spinning your wheels. Dear ones, relax, let go, let it be, with the intention to see, to rise up and in, above, into light, into clarity, literally lighter, higher energy, levity. When you are able to walk away with a clear intention on what you wish to understand or better work through and clear and move past, but you take a break, you move away, you put it out there. As Rebecca would say, set it and forget it. And then you move about your business. For some, you may need, if you are getting worked up about this, you may need to take a nap. You may need to go for a walk. You may need to go play, whatever play means to you, to get away, then revisit it, then return with a neutral state or being, and then ask, what is this here to teach me? How may I learn? How do I find healing? How do I find balance in this? Dear ones, the game of life is truly simple and easy. Be like children, be playful, be easy, be compassionate with yourself. When you feel something, really feel it, lean into it. Don't suppress it. Don't internalize it. Acknowledge it, let it be. It will dissolve. Then you will be able to up-level your energy. And from a higher place, you will find solutions and resolution and clearing and balancing. Do you understand?
Yes.
Please continue.
That's all the questions that I have. Are there any other questions out there that maybe someone is asking that you'd like to answer?
Dear ones, we wish to say to all of you who are tuned in to this broadcast now, you have access to this at your own free will in your own way. What you hear today, what resonates is what you need in this moment. If you re-listen to this at a later time, you will likely hear something new. We meet you where you are at, and you show up in a place where opening your energy to receive what you are ready and available for. And it is divinely perfect and right. There is no judgment. One is not further or along or further behind, dear ones. This is a very linear way to view this. You are all at your own unique place on your journey or path, and we commend you. If you are in body, you are brave. If you are here now, you are wise. If you are showing up with a pure open heart and mind, you will be ascended. You are here now to simply get out of your own way, dear ones. You self-sabotage, you condemn yourselves, you are critical from a very conscious, linear mind level. We ask that you be light about this. You laugh, you have a sense of humor. You acknowledge, here I go again, that ego self that tends to diminish you, deplete you, condemn, criticize. Dear ones, this is human nature indeed, and it is okay. Be gentle, be playful, relax, let it go, and move on. Just say next, and here we go, and move to a higher light. Ask Spirit to help you view through the lens of love and light. Ask Spirit to help you make your choices day by day, moment by moment, in the frequency of light, and release shadow. Ask Divine Spirit to allow only divine energy into your day, and that you are in alignment or agreement with only light source energy, which is based in pure, eternal, unconditional love. Love that you are, love that you always will be. Dear ones, the journey can be whatever you wish it to be. In knowing this, have at it, have fun. In a perfect world, what would I create? Release all the judgment, expectations, the shoulds, the rights, the wrongs. Dear ones, let it be, let it go. This is very old energy. Instead, create from your heart. Create from your light. You are light. Find ways to attune to light, to be light. Be the light, as you say. Truly be the light. Use your tools, attune to light, embody light, integrate light. The more you are light, the more you build your worth. Your worth is your light, the amount of light you hold. Your worth is measured in light, in the kindness, generosity, peace, understanding, compassion, joy. All the light that you hold is the measure of a life well lived. When you cross over, dear ones, you are not measured or gauged on success on any earthly, material, or external way. It is the light that you embodied, the light that you would shine, the light you would give unconditionally, first to self, and then extending it forward in service to others. Be light, be light, be light. We are very proud to say that we are in alignment and in energetic eternal creation with you, always available to you. Dear ones, we are proud of you and we love you. We love you just as you are. Until we meet again, remember, just be. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Small Medium at Large. For more information about my offerings and events, and for additional resources on your spiritual journey, including my self-guided courses, books, and blog videos, please visit my website, RebeccaRosen.com. You can also follow me on social media by searching @Medium Rebecca Rosen on Facebook and Instagram. As always, wishing you brightest blessings and all love.